Okay, well, hello everybody again. Um, Now the middle, well, let's see, the third week of January. Winter is definitely here. We just had a week of really cold weather, went down minus 23 Celsius. I think that turned into like 4 degrees below 0 Fahrenheit. Water in the old bus up the hill there that I'm living in, it froze up. I just got it thawed out today. It's back up to, it's right around freezing, 0 Celsius, 32, 33 Fahrenheit. What I'm going to try and do here now is, I'm pretty impressed with the way the bus started. I mean, yesterday it was -5, hadn't started in a week, and it fired right up. Well, I shouldn't say that fired right up. Took a little bit of effort, but it did start. So no ether or anything, just had to crank it and let it sit and build some heat and that kind of thing. And today, just second try, just cranked it for like 30 seconds and then let it sit for 30 seconds and it fired right up. So anyways, what I'm going to do is try and move it over about 1.5 foot or so over this way, and ahead a foot, and that'll allow me to, I've been trying to work on it, but every time I move it, put the slide outs out, then I gotta move it back again. So I think, just kind of figured out yesterday that if I do that, I think I can just leave the slides out. It only has to be a foot or so ahead, farther ahead than it is now, but it has to be over to the right about 1.5 feet. So I'm gonna do that, and then see if I can get the slides out. I can leave them out for a while I got all the parts now to do my cooling, or the heater at the front there, the copper tubing. I'll explain that a little bit later. That was a bit of a challenge. While I'm at it here, I might as well. I don't know if anybody will ever do this, but these steps that I've got here, that I put in under the door here, I put the switch, the magnetic switch, right down here on the level. Whoops. And that's not the place to put it, because it just froze up and came off the door. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to reposition it on the vertical here. That stayed dry, but all along the bottom here got all wet and icy and all that. So then it just froze up and peeled it was just siliconed on, but it just peeled that magnetic switch right off the bottom of the door. So if I put it up in here, then it'll stay dry and should be fine. So live and learn, little things like that. But if anybody decides that they want to do something similar, they can avoid the mistake I made. Put it up here in the first place. Wire's long enough and everything, so shouldn't be a problem. Anyways, I'm going to move this thing over and run the slides out. I got the heater, the furnace working, the diesel furnace. Got it up to mid 50 degrees in there yesterday, which I thought was pretty good, considering there's no insulation in it at all, and got a foot of snow on the roof. So anyways, I'm going to put the slides out. I hope that's what I'm working on anyways, and then I can start working inside. Okay, so I got it moved over. Slide outs out. Only actually had to come over about a foot or so. That one leveling valve's doing its goofy stuff again, and driver's side goes up too high, so it's sitting at an angle right now. But probably have to end up replacing both of those, I guess. Maybe all of them. Excuse me. As soon as you start driving it, it leveled itself out, but for whatever reason, and it's been sitting for a while, that leveling valve just goes on the driver's side, just goes up too high. But anyway, so all positioned better. Slide outs out. And I'll get started working inside. Diesel heaters, so the furnace is running. It's about 45, 46 degrees in there right now. So get started on the floor. Alright, so here's my dilemma. There's the original heating lines that go up to the factory dash heat. Now I'm not going to keep that heater. I'm going to replace it with an aftermarket new one like I did on the other bus. But I need to run, you know, these have to be connected to coolant. Well, my plan is to not run it off engine coolant directly, but run it off the furnace. So that's why these lines are cut here. That's going to go to the furnace. Water system is directly below here in the bay below down there, so I'm just going to go through the deck there down into that lower compartment and hook the hot water lines to these and run that. These ones here are capped off because I don't need them anymore. Those connect to the hot water system of the main engine of the Detroit, and I'm going to put a heat exchanger down in the bay here, and have the engine heat the furnace system coolant, if that makes any sense. Anyways, that's my plan. And the dilemma I run into is this is not copper pipe. This is copper tube, which means OD is 3/4 inch, not the ID. Copper pipe has 3/4 inch inside diameter. Copper tube has 3/4 outside diameter, and I never spent enough time measuring that, and I just assumed it was pipe, and I was wrong. So I went to solder these up and found that, you know, these fittings are too big. So I soldered them in there. I cut little pieces of copper pipe. I've got some pipe here, and I cut some pieces of that to use as a to take up the difference. So, you know, the copper pipe slipped over top of the copper tube because one's inside diameter, one's outside diameter, and then I soldered these caps on them. But these are a little bit loose. I just don't trust them. So I went and got a bunch of 3/4 inch compression fittings, and I'm going to put those one there, and then a cap, another one there, another cap, and that'll cap that off. And I have some other fittings to go, compression fittings that are going to go onto here and go that route, rather than trusting the solder. Because if it was a nice tight fit, I'd have left it, but I just didn't trust it, and because it was a little sloppy, and you know, if you don't get the solder all the way around, you know, there's a little bit of a gap there or whatever, it'll leak. And anyways, I didn't trust it, so I'm going to use compression fittings. So that's what I'm going to do now. And I have one spot up there that I cut through with the Sawzall, so I got that soldered up as well. Again, like I say, I don't trust it, so I've got a compression union that I'm going to put in there and go that route. So anyways, more later. Alright, so hello again. So I got these copper lines all repaired here now. Got a compression union up in here where I had that cut in the pipe, so that's all repaired now. And I've got this modified here. The supply lines, original supply lines for the heater, are just capped off here, compression fittings there, and then just caps. And then the lines, what I've done here is they're just going down through below into the bay, compression fittings here, and then there's hose bibs on the ends of these down in the bay. So that'll just get connected to the diesel furnace, and then that will allow me to the dash heater, use it for heating all the time as well. It'll, you know, we can use it, well, the whole system will work off either, you know, the diesel heater, the electric, or the main engine. So that'll allow that front heater to be used as part of that system. Anyways, and it's a good thing I didn't trust my solder joints. Probably would have been okay if I had, you know, if you could do it on a bench, but doing it down there, there's no solder on the bottom. There's too much gap between this copper pipe and the copper tube, and the solder just didn't flow in there and seal it. So it's a good thing I didn't trust them, because they would have leaked. So anyways, that was my fear, and looks like it was founded. So anyway, so now I can go ahead and insulate this, put the 3/8 plywood down, and then put the floor, the 3/4 inch plywood floor on here. So that's my next task. So I'm not really sure if I videoed what I was doing here before. It was too long ago. It's been such a long time since I've been working on this floor that I can't remember what exactly that I videoed. But anyways, what I'm doing here is filling the bottom cavity here. I'll kill myself. Filling this bottom cavity with Roxul insulation, and then putting a sheet of 3/8 plywood, like I did at the back, over top of that, and then I'll fill the cavity from the 3/8 plywood up to the bottom of that 3/4 inch with insulation as well. So it's going to have, on the front half, it'll have lots of insulation. Because this floor tapers, as I've said before, you know, there's less and less as it goes to the back. Got about 2 inches at the right at the back, and it's going to be up to almost 8 inches deep up here at the front. So anyways, that's what I'm doing. I'm just going to drop this. Have to put to put it into 2 pieces, because of the slide out cables and whatnot. They're overhanging it, so I'm gonna have to put it in one side at a time and kind of, you know, just drop it into place. So anyways, that's what I'm gonna do next. Okay, so I got the plywood in. The 2x4 is cut to the height for the 3/4 inch plywood to sit on. That's all in place there now. I just put the insulation in, and then put the plywood on. That'll be, but I can't find any of my screws. All my self-tapping screws and my deck screws for all this have gone AWOL, of course, with all the moving and whatnot. So I'm gonna have to just go get a couple more packages. I didn't realize I couldn't find them. So anyway, that's where we're at for now. Okay, so we're a few days a little long here now before I get back to this. Got the insulation in this first cavity here. Got my wires run, and all in place here for the power and the slide outs. There's a channel I cut under here for the cable to run back and forth and in here as the slide's going out. One there and then one over here. So I'm also going to have this is also, when the floor is finished, that's also going to be the return air duct. So I'll have found some oak floor vents. They're 14 by 17, I believe, and so I'll put one here and one basically in that channel in the back for the second zone. This channel down here, as I've mentioned before, down in the bottom here, that was the original bus return air path. So I'm just going to reuse that. The the heaters are in the bay that the original heater was in, the heating system. So I'm just going to reuse that channel as the return air, and I'll put one at the back as well. So anyways, just about ready to put the plywood floor down here. Probably another, you know, half an hour. So I just got to insulate that cavity there, and then cut the plywood to fit. All right, so we're slowly chugging along here. That's the next piece of plywood down. I just have one more piece to do up in here, and then I have to, and this has to be fit around seat opening here, and there'll be a step right in here to step down from this level to down to the driving height. So that's what I'm going to work on next. A little bit at a time. It's a bit of a pain with the being cold. It's got a, you know, I'm going to heat it all up in here, and it takes a while, and running a generator and everything, but we're getting it done. Slowly but surely. Well, hello again. Seems like I forgot to take some video in the process of putting this last piece down here, but we're taking it now, I guess. Anyway, so we're all done up here. There's the opening for the seat on the driver's side. Same thing on the passenger side here. The passenger side seat will fit in that area there. I have to replace, before I can really go any farther than that, I have to replace this floor in the driver's compartment. I'll put new treated plywood down there, but I won't do that till it warms up a little bit more. It is quite a bit warmer. Almost said it was springtime. It's well above freezing. Pretty much all the snow's gone. We get the odd snow shower, you know, or whatever you want to call it. Get a half an inch, and 3-4 hours later it's gone. So spring is definitely coming. So anyways, that's pretty much there. Now what next thing I have to do is I'm going to put a 3/8 inch subfloor, plywood subfloor on top of this. It's 3/8 of an inch too low to just put the flooring on, so I have to kind of come up 3/8 of an inch back to about in here, basically where the kitchen starts. So because of the way the cables for the slide outs work and everything, that's pretty much that's what I got to do. So from about in here, top of the stairs, beginning of the kitchen kind of thing, back to about in here, I'm gonna have to taper it with some flooring compound, self-leveling or something like that, before I put the floor down. But from here on forward will be 3/8 plywood on top of that, 3/4 inch. That's so I need 3 sheets of 3/8 to do that. And then I got a big, I rented another container, so all the stuff that's in the bus here now is going to go into that container. I'm going to clean this thing right out, and then clean the floor as best I can, you know, clean it right up, and then in a month or so it'll be time for spray foam insulation. So I'm thinking about the middle of April. It's end of February now, so about the middle of April, something like that, I think I'll be ready for the spray foam. I got to do some more skinning on the outside, which is what I'm going to start on next, and then I'm going to put some plywood strips, 1/2 inch plywood strips, probably 6 inches wide, you know, here up and down here, to put the outer skin on once after it's spray foamed. I also have to get all the stuff out of the bays. We still got tools from the old shop down in the bays down there, so I can close that all up and finish getting all my wiring done. So lots to do, but it's warming up now, so hopefully things will start to progress a little quicker. So anyways, time to get started.